Meet Comdex. Comdex is a decentralized synthetics protocol in the Cosmos ecosystem. Comdex enables its users to create and exchange synthetic assets using their Cosmos ecosystem holdings. These synthetic assets open the door to limitless global accessibility and liquidity, democratizing finance by bridging DeFi and CeFi.
Hey guys, I think we're live. We'll just do a quick sound check, starting with you, Marcus.
Sound check.
Oh, good. Martin?
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Martin. Hey, Evan.
Hey, guys. Works.
Great to be here, guys. It's really nice to have a very diverse, panel here. So I will be moderating this panel, and we will be discussing, what are the challenges CeFi and TradeFi are facing, and how DeFi is the future. And we have Marcus from BridgeTower Capital. He's been in the space for quite some time. Is very knowledgeable about regulations in Switzerland and been involved in STOs as well. Martin here is co-founder in TGrade, who is doing institutional DeFi, focused primarily on Europe as well. And Evan, has been part of the Comdex journey as well, and now would be leading CeFi, which will be our flagship product as well. So we'll begin the discussion shortly. But guys, if you want to do a quick introductions about yourself, so we'll go in the same order again. So Marcus, if you would like to give a brief intro.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. And first of all, congratulations to the successful launch.
Thanks a lot, Marcus.
It always feels so special to give birth more or less to a new blockchain. It's really a launch party and a moment to celebrate. So thanks for everything. Quick background, Marcus, CEO of BridgeTower Capital. BridgeTower is a global private equity firm. With switching from equity investments to token investments, we realized we need to run validator nodes. So we're currently supporting a lot of Cosmos-based blockchains and some of the minor other ones like Ethereum and Solana and so on. And we're also doing our third pillar is we're calling it private activities. So we are very often helping foundations to do real-world business at the end. Helium is a great example. We are now we have a strong relationship to the Helium Foundation, and we are now helping them to manufacture helium miners in Brazil. And we're also supporting a coordinated rollout all over Latin America. And we liked it a lot, helping these Web 3.0 companies getting more real-world traction. And one of the latest achievements was also BridgeTower is now a cash compute provider out of Switzerland, completely with renewable energy. And we are super happy to support the whole Web 3.0 industry at the end with compute power. And last but not least, we also BridgeTower is also now a Comdex validator node, also here from Switzerland, renewable energy. And we are super happy to support this great project.
Great. Thanks a lot, Marcus. Really kind to hear. Martin, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. First of all, again, congratulations on the launch of the project. I know launching a project is never easy. There's a lot of hard work that goes in the background. A lot of last-minute panics, and it all looks really smooth when the first block gets produced, and the chain begins its life. But congratulations! I know you've all been working really hard to get this achieved. So, well done, team. Abhishek is particular of leading them to success. So congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you, Martin. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So, bit of background about who I am. I did 30 years in capital markets and technology before finding the blockchain in 2017. It feels like a bit like confessing to being an alcoholic or something, that I worked in finance previously, but I saw the errors of my ways, and blockchain is definitely where I want to be. I love the community, I love the innovation going on, and I'm really, really excited about projects, obviously like Comdex, like the ones we're working on, what you're doing at BridgeTower. They're all really, really important things, and there's a great future happening, and we're part of shaping it now. So, so my journey in the blockchain has been various different companies. Some were shorter than others, like funding doesn't happen, then you disappear. You have to start again, pivot, find another way. And so it's been a hustle. But in 2020, in July, I co-founded Confio with Ethan Frey and Simon Water. And we had this great idea about TGrade, which is our own self-sovereign blockchain that is going to be bridging traditional finance and the mad world of DeFi. So we're trying to create frameworks to make all this happen. So that's who I am.
Thanks a lot, Martin. Evan, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Sure. So first off, I mean, Abhishek, amazing job. You and Sid are like family. I'm so proud of you guys. So I've been with Comdex in an advisory capacity very early days, right? I met a few folks in Singapore, and we talked about blockchain as it pertains to trade finance, I think 2018. So that's when I got involved. I've been 15 years in commodities and trade finance. Done the hard work of commodity operations and worked on banking. I also run my own fund called Trade Credit Partners. I'll be working with the team to create CeFi and also currently run the enterprise trading aspect, which I think will see a lot of very interesting synergies with the synthetics protocol. So very excited for the future, and similar to Martin, and Marcus, very interested in how DeFi is going to play out in the real world, and also I think it's very important as a mission that we bring some real world, not real world, but normal traditional finance opportunities, right? So that there are so many interesting businesses that could benefit from this paradigm shift, and that's where I want to be.
So sounds great, Evan. To add to this, Evan's a great teacher as well. So he's taught me and said a lot about trade finance and commodities over the last few years. So thanks a lot for that. It won't happen, without your help. So continuing on that thought, Evan, we've been seeing this for quite some time. Of course, we're seeing a lot more adoption now across various traditional companies as well. But what, in your opinion, is like holding a wider DeFi adoption amongst traditional companies in general?
I think it's definitely entrenched interest. I mean, if I could, bring it to one thing, right? Because so many companies benefit from centralization, right? And, there is an inherent opaqueness that benefits a few people, right? If you talk about fund management, if you talk about commodity companies, right? I mean, just look at Cargill, right? It derives, half of its, bottom line from something called, TSF, which is effectively a financial service, right? That you can offer to various companies in the commodity space. And what you do to access that market is you re-engineer trade flow. So when you talk about transparency, right, the lack of transparency actually benefits certain market participants, right? So if we all want to take part in some of these enormous profits, right, and I think probably, commodities and the hedge fund industry in particular have probably more billionaires per capita than anything, right? If we want to make this have a broader access can participate in that wealth, obviously, some people are going to not really like that. So there's definitely going to be friction, right? But I think all of us can say in a low interest rate environment, we're not happy earning 5 basis points on our money, right? So, I think it's definitely coming, and I think the driving force is going to be people, and also obviously the innovative technology that just cuts out middlemen and kind of ruthlessly, reshapes the market.
Thank you, Evan. Continuing on this, when you actually try to, bring everything on chain, real world access to chain. So the first challenge comes across, that everybody comes across is the tokenization of, whatever industry you're in. So in trade finance, maybe the invoices or, bills of lading. So, Martin, would you, like to discuss how are you at TGrade, taking over this challenge of tokenizing the assets first, and then providing that movement.
So yeah, I definitely echo what was said before about entrenched interests, and you do see quite a defensive move from the sell side. They've got big blockchain departments. They want to create garden walls. They want to create these permission systems to continue the status quo. And I think what people like us are doing, we're saying, well, no, this is wrong. We're going to do public. We're going to really undermine you. And I think they're just going to completely miss it. And it will be the buy side, the asset managers, the people actually, with investment portfolios that will navigate into the world of DeFi. And the sell side will look a bit stupid with their big garden walls that they can't do much with. So with that kind of background, it's not like I've got a war against the sell side and the investment banks, but we want to try and bring, these very large markets. There's thousands of trillions of dollars worth of business that goes on every year in traditional markets. How do we get some of that in blockchain? And coming from the industry is like the biggest blockers is really around regulations. You need some kind of order, some kind of regulations. And I know that's a really unpopular thing for people in the DeFi world, because the beauty of DeFi is you have a global liquidity pool. No one cares who you are. It's all beautifully automated. But we also know there's a dark side. When you see hundreds of millions being extracted through MEV and front running, that's not very fair, nor is inflating what the prices are on exchanges, etc. So there is, unfortunately, there is a side to humanity that cheats. And we're not going to get mass adoption if there's unruly markets where people are cheating. People just aren't going to be confident enough to invest. So when you draw those together, you've got the first piece is really around, like I said, the fairness, the kind of regulations. And I think it's up to us to really help shape those frameworks, help define what those regulations are, not throw your head in the sand and say, we're DeFi, normal world doesn't apply to us, because that's not going to go very far. Maybe you have another 5 years in it, but they really will clamp down. So important things really is to connect identity to a blockchain address, which may sound completely unpopular, but it's important. It's important because you can then demonstrate to regulators that you know who you're selling your stuff to. So if I've got a nice shiny binary options platform or some really toxic derivatives, I don't want to sell that to retail. Well, I could to make myself very wealthy, but it's not very good because it could take out everyone's savings and you're back to square one. People don't like what you're doing. And you get the same label as finance, which isn't very popular in some places. The bankers do get hounded in the press quite regularly. So we don't really want that to come into blockchain in the broader sense. So if we have that link to identity or blockchain address, we can then start saying, well, these investments are suitable. This is where the innovation can have. These are the frameworks you can work in. And then we can really get going on the smart contracts and start bringing real business in there and, take advantage of the peer-to-peer, take advantage of the whole landscape of DeFi, but in a controlled way that benefits the investors, and it gives some regulatory certainty as well to the protocols developing this innovation.
That's a very valid point. Linking identity, to addresses. But of course, I think if there were friendlier tax conditions there, majority of the DeFi users might end up, becoming verified or linking their identity as well. But I know it's a very unpopular opinion, but I can certainly understand how it's so relevant in the real world side, where every investment would need you to kind of disclose who you are. So yes, that's a very valid point. Marcus, one question for you would be, at BridgeTower, like you said, you were into equities, and then now you were into crypto investing. Now you're setting up infrastructure as well. What do you think, would be the most important infrastructure piece which is missing? In my opinion, like, along the lines of over collateralization, and, like, for example, on Comdex Enterprise, if somebody wanted to hedge its position, on the synthetics protocol, or, of let's say, for example, they would need a lot of, capital for doing it. And they're used to having very good leverage from the, centralized markets as well. What do you think, how would, DeFi would tackle that issue?
Good question. Let me start differently. At the end, we all know that the growth software is eating the world, right? So blockchain and DeFi, it's all software. And I think what DeFi and blockchain is representing is process efficiency. So things are happening more efficient. And we're currently at the point that they are so efficient that the human who is interacting with it is struggling following everything. So to answer your question, what is, I think, I cannot answer your question, in the long term. I can answer the question right now. And I think that the infrastructure piece currently missing is, I'm calling it RegTech, right? So all the regulation kind of tech, analyzing all the transactions, what is going where, and maybe even preventing it. So it's more like an assistant, a virtual assistance for institutions and more sophisticated users, helping them navigating and interacting with the DeFi space. We all know it, right? I think if you currently try to do something on the Ethereum DeFi side, it's really tricky. Lucky the Cosmos world is having Osmosis, where we now have the half button and everything.
I love it, yeah.
Usually it's complicated, and helping individuals and institutions to interact with this software, which is constantly changing and super complicating, plus helping them tracking everything and trying to prevent to do mistakes. I think this is at the moment the most important software, the most important infrastructure piece. And this is including, last but not least, also tracking your tax responsibilities, right? In different jurisdictions, for example, staking rewards are declared as more or less income, right? Normal exposure is capital gains. So it's really complicated to track and be tax compliant. And I think this is the missing infrastructure piece at the moment.
That's such a great point. Both the the education of the users themselves and the tax infrastructure. Really great points. On a similar note, Evan, I know you've been speaking to a lot of traditional funds and trying to onboard them over TradFi. So if you could give a sneak peek on how that would look in the future. I think we have like 2 minutes remaining, so if you would like to briefly explain.
Sure. So, happy to announce I did convince a fund for a personal investment to take a stable asset, right, as a subscription instrument, right? Also talk to CPAs about some of the tax stuff. So as far as stable instruments go, there isn't too much, right, that, a CPA can say that doesn't work the way a normal fiat investment would work. So that's the positive side, right? I think also, speaking with these funds, their investors would love access to crypto, right, or exposure to crypto. Now, the good thing about DeFi and what we're trying to do is this is just like a bonus, right, the DeFi exposure. Right. So if you make a principal fund investment and you just have a bonus, right, to participate in the system through sharing of, the token, I think it will be adopted and people are going to be very receptive to it. But like what Marcus said, there's going to be a lot of hand holding, right? I mean, Abhishek, certainly you've held a lot of hands, right? I think now we have to, take it up, people like on this panel, right? Kind of the old timers, myself, included, that we have to show people how fun it is to use these products and, make people feel comfortable.
Absolutely. This makes so much sense. Yeah, it certainly is challenging, for someone new to enter into DeFi, but very, very positive, of the future. And as more adoption takes place, I think we'll all be able to just do all the investments right from our wallets itself. So it was
Absolutely.
great, connecting with you guys. It's almost time. If there's anything you guys want to discuss, maybe you can take another minute. Martin, would you like to, have some closing comments?
Yeah, I think the main message really is blockchain's a fantastic community for collaborating. So like we'll all work together on this. We'll all help define the regulations. We'll hit some headwinds quite often with vested interest, with regulators not understanding what we're doing. But I think the beauty of what we do collectively in the space is so powerful that we'll win in the end.
That's such a beautiful way to end this discussion. Thank you, Marcus. Thanks, Martin. Thanks a lot, Evan.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys soon. All right, thanks.